A positive trend to start out with is that although we've had an increase in the amount of devices that we have in our ecosystem, we've seen a significant reduction in the amount of overall risk. For us, I think that's a key metric, is that if we are increasing the base of technology, we can't at the same time proportionately increase the amount of risk. There has to be benefit coming for our customers. We have a strong belief that if we are not adding value to your business, if we are not reducing your risk, we have no place being there. We hold ourselves to a very high standard, making sure that our customers extract value from the solution and don't just pay a bill for some cool technology. So just looking at those 2023 versus 2024, we've had an overall reduction in the amount of events, the volume, frequency, and severity of those incidents. So not only the frequency of events has come down, but the severity and the nature of the risk behind those incidents has also decreased at the same time. If we look at road traffic statistics, again, we've touched on this in every single presentation, but I think a key highlight here is that I'm sure a lot of you have read the Zootopia report that South Africa is the most dangerous roads to drive on in the world. I think some of you may have seen it. If you haven't, it was an eye-opening thing for us and for our customers, is that South Africa is labeled within the top 5 riskiest places to drive in the world. If you look at that proportionately to the European Union as an example, if we look at the average road traffic mortality rate, we look at the deaths per 100,000 people. So the ratio in South Africa is there's an average of almost 26 deaths per 100,000 inhabitants that are as a result of a road traffic accident. If you look at the converse to that and you look at the European Union, it's 5 times lower. So that tells us that is there a root cause behavioral issue? Is there a legislative issue? Is it governance and compliance driving these things in the right direction? And how can we take international learnings and apply those in our environment to, again, extract value from the technology and make a meaningful impact in saving the lives of our employees? I wanted to touch quickly on the manual triggers. I think this is something that's quite unique to us, is that we allow drivers to trigger their own events. Although we don't analyze these, there's many practical use cases for this. And the story that it tells us is that of the 30 million events that we were able to generate through AI or accelerometers, 5 million of those were generated by our drivers. Our drivers wanting to tell us a story. And I think that level of empowerment is far often overlooked. We don't understand that the day in the life of a truck driver, we always monitor them in their efficiencies and their ability to get from A to B and deliver loads. But we far often neglect that they also have risks that they're exposed to that they'd like to feed back to you. So we use the manual triggered events as a mechanism for the drivers to again feel more empowered and included within this driver safety process and give you feedback. That might be in terms of operational delays. The driver might be somewhere to make a delivery and the gates are locked and no one's there to accept the load. We empower the drivers to generate events. There's a date and time stamp, a geolocation, and there's video and audio giving you feedback on what the driver is experiencing in their day-to-day life. The benefits of that, I think, is far often underused. Stepping over to some of the key behaviors we've identified. Of the 30 million events that we've processed through our system for the last 12 months in South Africa, 7.5 million of those events contain a behavior of sorts. Again, harsh braking without root cause analysis, without root cause behavior or outcome is just a braking incident. There's no call to action for that because there's nothing that we can fundamentally do to change the outcome of that if there's no association or risk factor. Our behavior groups that we analyze for, as Optix, we analyze over 65 individual driving behaviors. Some people say it's overkill and it's too much, but the importance there is that we have the ability to give you the granularity that you need to make far better informed decisions. I'll give you an example of that. It's all fair and well that we tell you your drivers are unbelted, but we classify drivers unbelted in 7 different categories. The context and the environment in which the driver is unbelted structures the conversation that you have with them from a coaching perspective. If your driver is unbelted on a national roadway, it's a traffic violation, it's against company policy, the nature of that conversation is far different to the driver being unbelted in the yard. You may allow that. The driver may need movability to look at his blind spots, as an example. But without that information and just labeling all driver unbelted events as the same, you have no context to have a constructive conversation and empower your drivers, as an example. Those 65 behaviors are rolled up into these primary behavior groups of distracted driving, fundamental driving, driver conduct, outcomes, traffic violations, and inattentiveness or poor awareness. What we have noticed that within these 7 million behaviors, distracted driving is the primary root cause behavior that we are identifying. And within that, 40% of those distracted driving behaviors are as a result of food and drink distraction. I think this is something that is also, again, far often overlooked, is that we want our drivers to drink and eat while they're driving. A lot of them do long distance. But how can we do the simple things, like giving the driver a water bottle with a straw, as an example? We've run that as case studies with a lot of our customers, and the results have been significant. We've been able to reduce the amount of distracted driving because we're empowering the drivers again with better tools to be more effective in the operation of their vehicle and not being distracted by food and drink or other objects in the vehicle. Secondly, we look at fundamental driving. Fundamental driving looks at those fundamental or habitual concerns of drivers, things like following distance, failing to keep an eye or spatial awareness. The primary behavior there, 44% of the time, is following distance of under 2 seconds. We classify following distance in 4 categories. It's 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, and under 1. So the fact of the matter is that 50% of the time when our drivers have poor following distance, they do so under 2 seconds. If we go back to Valdo's reaction time testing, I think it's quite safe to say that the drivers are not allowing themselves enough time to react. Reaction is one thing, but the ability of your vehicle to stop is another. Is it fully loaded? Is it a larger vehicle or a smaller vehicle? Is it carrying passengers or carrying a load? All of those things are important to consider, but the visibility we're able to provide you in the video and the analysis thereof helps you again have a constructive coaching conversation with the driver to improve the distance between them and the vehicle in front, to be as preventative towards rear-end collisions as we can. Okay. From a driver conduct perspective, almost 69% of our events contained a drowsy behavior. We label those behaviors as drowsy or falling asleep, possible or critical fatigue. So 70% of the driver conduct behaviors were from a drowsy outcome. We look at the outcome categories. In the outcome category, we have near collisions. In the near collisions, we have a driver error or third-party collisions, and then we have the outcome of an actual collision. What's important for us then, we'll get into some of the detail of that, is that we are the only provider globally that can give you a near collision analysis of whether it's due to driver error or third party. Okay. If we look at traffic violations, 62% of traffic violations are as a result of drivers failing to stop at stop signs or at traffic lights. And then on the poor awareness side, there's a late response issue that we've identified as the primary cause for poor awareness. Okay, going over to the next, we have now split our event triggers into G-force triggers on the left and MVAI triggers on the right. I think that machine vision and AI has given us the ability to quickly assess and identify risks and not wait for the resultant outcome of a harsh braking, being more proactive, more preventative and more predictive towards assessing behavior before waiting for an activation. So from a G-force perspective, we've identified 2.8 million events, from a machine vision and AI 5 million. So we are 2 times more effective in identifying behaviors through the use of machine vision and artificial intelligence. From a G-force perspective, the primary concern there is harsh braking. Harsh braking, although it is an outcome for us, pairing the root cause helps you look at things like vehicle deterioration over time. How can we avoid the avoidable harsh braking or the unnecessary harsh braking, which ultimately has an impact on your vehicle maintenance? So there's a cost benefit to addressing the primary root cause behavior by preventing the outcome of harsh braking and deterioration of your asset over time. From a machine vision and AI perspective, we identify these key eight behaviors. Again, the primary concern they're coming with food and drink and inattentiveness and handheld device. Those are all forms of driver distraction. Driver distraction, as we'll show you later, is becoming a national pandemic in South Africa, as is fatigue. When we start looking at ranking these key behaviors that we've identified against each other, we've identified that cell phone distraction is the primary repeated root cause behavior or distraction-related behavior that's resulting in unwanted incidents within South African roads. What's important to note here is that cell phone distraction, food and drink distraction, and other distraction all form part of the distraction behavior group. So that just exacerbates the issue, but now with us having the ability to tell you where that distraction is coming from, you can actually start doing something about it. A positive note is that although cell phone distraction is the highest, most prevalent, most frequently triggered event, we've seen a 31% reduction in our customer base over the last 12 months. which is quite a significant impact. Okay, you'll notice that things like fatigue are ranked as 3, but if you bundle fatigue and distraction into 2 primary behaviors, the impact you can make on your fleet is significant. You can almost reduce 65% of your total risk just by focusing on 2 things.